No, this is SJ. I'm gonna play this clip from the Marvin Sapp addresses the controversial video on the Ricky Smiley show. I'm hoping that I'm covered under fair use. I'm gonna play this clip and I'm gonna be back with my commentary.
Award-winning singer, bishop, and pastor of the Chosen Vessel Church in Fort Worth, Texas. Joining us this morning is a friend of the show, Marvin Sapp. And good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. Thank you. And listen, let me say this. I'm not here to exploit the situation. You are my friend. Thank you, sir. And I'm a real friend. I'm a loyal friend. You understand? And I haven't even talked to you this week. No, because I know your phone was blowing up, but I had sense enough that everything that you sat here and said during the commercial break, I already knew. You don't have to explain that to me. I grew up in the church. And in your own way, let's start with the attacks that are on you and the death threats on you and your family.
Well, let me just start.
Just whatever way you want to start.
Let me just start by saying first, Ricky, I thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I thank you for the opportunity to be able to come on your show and for you to use your platform to give me a chance to just, add some context.
Yeah.
Some context and clarity to, a clip that, a whole lot of people have seen. Sadly, one of the things that has happened is, people have created a narrative that is absolutely not true. Number one, the narrative was created, excuse me, that I raised money at my church, that I kept the people at my church hostage until I raised $40,000 for me. That's the narrative that has been shared, that I locked folks up in my church, that, I made them give $40,000 and I wouldn't allow them to leave until they gave it to me. And to be honest with you, that is absolutely false.
Yeah.
Number one, that offering was taken last year. This was a service that happened last August. Number two, it didn't happen at my local church. It actually happened at a national organization's international meeting where churches from all over the country, all over the world came together for the purpose of celebrating the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. People took issue with me saying, shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors.
Yeah.
I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out. They've taken issue with my tone. And I can honestly say, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. I can apologize for that. But three things I need to make sure that people understood. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference, not Marvin Sapp. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore. Number three, people take issue with me being firm with the ushers. Anybody that goes to church, ushers one-on-one, that's the first thing they teach you as being an usher, is that there are three times you don't walk. You don't walk during the altar call. You don't walk during prayer. You don't walk during the offering. One of the reasons being is because of the sacredness of the moment. But it's also about security. As a pastor, that churches are being robbed at gunpoint. It's happening all over the country. This is not something I'm making up. This is factual. So if you got 5,000 people in the room, you want the doors closed. You don't want the doors locked. I couldn't get them locked anyway. It's a convention center. But the doors needed to be closed, and there was a lot of pandemonium and stuff that was going on out there. But I wanted to share that first. But that ain't even the reason why I'm here. Here's the reason why I'm here. The reason why I'm here is because what has happened is people have taken clickbait and made something out of it that it isn't. And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid because I've received death threats over $20 and shut the door. People have come to our campus. They have come to my church to try to cause problems, issues, challenges. And again, my children, I don't look at comments. We was talking about this. I don't read comments. When you got millions of followers, you ain't got time to be reading all the comments. You just don't have it.
Right.
My children do. And they are afraid. And the reason being is because I'm their only parent. I'm a widower. They're afraid for my safety. So now we've had to update and increase security and all the things I've never had to do before because of the vitriol and the anger that people have shown, the things that they've said in my thread and stuff. And all of this is because of a misunderstanding. And I'm not blaming people. Let me be clear. I'm not blaming anybody because of their misunderstanding. I'm just saying in all you're getting, get an understanding. And if I'm sharing with you that the $40,000 that I was trying to raise, and again, I don't know if the organization got 40, 10, 20, any of it. I don't know. I'm hoping that I actually raised more money so that I can help the organization that has been such a great support to me. These people.
And again, let's be clear. Not a dime of that money.
Not a dime of that money came to me. Not a dime of it.
And where did your money come from?
I've been blessed. I've been extremely blessed. I've sold millions of records. Millions. I'm a songwriter.
How much have you gotten paid from? And we on the radio live.
Right.
How much have you gotten paid from your church? I'm just saying.
Okay. So
tell me
Ricky,
what you said during
I'm gonna
the commercial.
tell you. What people don't know is that I pastored 16 years in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I founded my church. I pastored 16 years. We had a great church. Still have a great church there. 16 years of pastoring. I never got paid a dime. That's a fact. 16 years. You can call the church. You can ask them. I pastored the Lighthouse for Life Center Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan for free for 16 years. 9 years of those 16 years, I gave a minimum of $30,000 a month to my church. Wow. 30 grand a month to my church to ensure that the church could go forward. We had a lot of stuff. I had a college campus that we had bought. We had 3 other campuses. And my membership had dwindled after my wife had passed because I had to travel more in order to take care of me and my kids.
Right.
So, my membership, it dwindled, but we never lost anything. And as a matter of fact, this is factual. The day I announced the new pastor, I burned the mortgage of the church. When I left Grand Rapids, I left my church not only debt-free, but I left them with 6 figures in the bank and put a brand new pastor in and walked away and moved to Texas. I'm not trying to take advantage of people. That's never been my passion. I'm serious about ministry. And let me go one step further. There's a whole lot of other pastors around here that are doing the same thing. Most pastors in America are bivocational, meaning they have jobs outside of their churches. The average church size in America is only 75 people. Look it up. It's factual. So we're not getting rich off the church. I am bivocational. I'm a W-2 employee at my church. I have a syndicated radio show that I do every week to over 60 different markets. I own real estate. I have mutual funds. I have annuities. I have stocks. I play the market. I took my money and I didn't trick it.
Money that you made from
money that I made from music,
records.
from hit records. I'm one of the only gospel artists with billions of streams.
And you tour.
And I tour. I just came off of a tour.
Sure.
That I made tons of money on. And I'm at the crib right now chilling because I don't have to go on tour. I can wait and do my next date.
Basically, you saying all that to say you don't need no $40,000.
I don't.
Got it.
And I would take it if they gonna give it to me. But
Right.
I did not raise this money for the premise and purpose.
And that was a
of coming to
program
me.
that helped you get
Right.
to where you
They
are.
gave me a platform. This organization is an organization I grew up in. It's a church organization I grew up in. And I'm appreciative. The reason why I'm gonna bring up the organization, because it ain't none of y'all business. But the point is these people gave me a platform, man. And the reason why I'm known today is because of the opportunities that this organization gave me. So for me to go back and be able to preach and raise
Give back.
finances and give back to them so that they don't have to go in debt. Listen, one of the most devastating things about this whole situation and circumstance is that I'm literally praying for all of those who have actually spread it. Like if I was a weak guy, if I was a very weak person with all of the things that people have said in my comments and stuff like that, that my members of my church have read, that my children have read, you know, people commit suicide on stuff like this.
Sure.
From this type of attack. And I know for a fact that there are some individuals that really don't have a clear understanding of the systems of the church. But then I know that there are some individuals that are listening, even as I speak, that have been church hurt, you know, and that's the reason why they have a certain level of vitriol and bitterness as it pertains to the church. This particular situation for me is a church hurting situation because I did something for the church, but I'm taking abuse because of it. I just want people to really understand that this is something that we shouldn't do. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you check out everything first. Make sure that you examine the information with clarity and context before you begin to share it. Honestly, let me be right with Rick. Some of this stuff is funny. They got this one meme that I was laughing this morning looking at with the Teddy Pendergrass fur coat on, yeah. And it got at the bottom of my face. They closed the door. It's hilarious, and because I have a sense of humor, right, I can laugh at that kind of stuff. Everybody ain't able to handle that, and you all have to really.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. I do stand corrected. And seeing in that one video, I did say that he locked the doors, and I changed the title of the video. Um, and a lot of people are saying that he locked the doors. I do stand corrected. That he didn't said lock. He did in fact say close the doors. So I do stand corrected there. I don't know if anybody else is gonna stand corrected, but I ain't worried about nobody else. I'm worried about me. So I do apologize that I did say, and I stand correct that I did say lock. And I changed the title of the video, but I did say lock in the video. However, a lot of people are saying lock. I guess the reason why is because it felt like from the way it came across like he was saying close the doors. Y'all ain't doing nothing but going to dinner, and we gonna raise this money here. You know, it seemed like that's what he's trying to do. That, yeah, he didn't say lock, he did say close, but it appeared, what it appeared to be, that he was closing the people up in the convention. He said it was the convention, and trying to force them to give money. That's the way it looked. And like I said, I was a Jehovah's Witness for many years. Never did they ever say close the doors. That they don't move like that. They put the box in the entryway before you get into the part, the seating, and you can donate, and nobody knows how much you're giving. However, before I became a witness, I went to other churches. In all the churches, because I didn't become a witness until I was in my 30s. Oh well, I didn't start going to the hall until I was in my mid 30s. But before that, I was going to other churches, and all the other churches that I went to, I never ever in my life encountered a church where they said close the doors. He said that that's protocol, that they close the doors during tithing, but I've never heard of that before. No church that I've ever been to has ever said close the doors, it's time for us to pay tithes. They just passed the collection plate around, and I mean, and they never said close the doors. And I had been to many other churches before I started going to the hall. I had been to many other churches, and never in my whole life have I ever encountered a minister saying, "Close the doors. It's time for us to start paying tithes." So and a lot of people are saying that they were raised in the church and they've never seen that. So that's very foreign to me. He said, "Well, people rob churches." Well, maybe that's the case, but I've never heard of in my whole entire life some minister saying, "Close the doors. It's time for us to pay tithes." I've never seen that. I've been to many other churches, and I've never seen that ever before in my whole entire life. And I'm 57 years old. And before I started going to the hall, I went to many other churches, and none of those churches ever said. Now I did go to one church. This minister was something else in my city. I did go to one church, and me and my friend went to visit his church, but he was a trip. He stood. He was taking up a collection for something, and he stood by the church doors and said, "Y'all niggas ain't giving enough money." I know, I don't know if I can say that on here, but he said, "Y'all ninjas." He said, "Y'all ninjas ain't give enough money." Me and my friend looked at each other and started busting out laughing. I said, "No, he didn't just call us." He said, "Y'all ninjas," but that's just the type of person he was. He said he stood by the church doors and said, "Y'all ninjas didn't give enough money." And that's the only time that I've ever seen something remotely close to that. But other than that, in anybody else's church, I've never encountered a minister saying, lock or not, I mean, excuse me, close the doors. It's time for us to start paying tithes. And a lot of other people, I'm looking at a lot of other people's content, and they're saying the same thing. So a lot of these people are saying, "I was raised in the church and I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of." Now, I'm not denying the fact that churches get robbed. I'm not denying that, because that's the time that we're living in. But I've just never, in my whole entire life, have ever heard a minister say, "Close the doors. It's time for us to start paying tithes." I've never heard of that, and a lot of folks ain't heard of it, and so it just came across like he was trying to, because he said, "Y'all ain't doing nothing but going to the dinner. We leaving at the same time." Well, how do you know that everybody was leaving at the same time if it was a conference? If it was a conference, how do you know everybody's leaving at the same time? Everybody might not necessarily, if it's a conference, everybody might not necessarily be leaving at the same time. So it just felt like, and second of all, it's none of your business where people are going after the conference. They might not be going out to eat. They might be going home. I mean, it's really none of your business where they're going. And you're like, "Oh yeah, you ain't going nothing but to dinner." He assumed that they were going to eat, and it appeared like he was like lock or close the door. Excuse me, close the doors, and somebody played a clip. I forget who it was. Another YouTuber, content creator, played a clip that played some ministers earlier in that same service. This guy was collecting for $500. They were trying to get money all night, all day from people. This content creator filmed. She played a clip from earlier in that same convention. It was earlier, and it was another minister up there asking for $500. So they have been asking for money all day. See, that's what he's not telling you. And then he's refusing to tell you the organization that he was raising the money for. So this is the reason why I understand what he's saying, and I do not condone people making threats towards him. That is definitely uncalled for. I don't condone that. That's not necessary. I do pray that God keeps him and his family safe. I don't condone that at all. People are doing too much. But it's just that people, um, it's just, it just, people having a hard time wrapping their mind around it. People having a hard time wrapping their mind around the fact that you said close the doors and we're about to take up offering, and a lot of folks said they ain't never heard of that, including myself. And it came across like you were saying, "Okay, well, close the doors," and trying to pressure people into giving the money. And it was the way he came across. It was the way he came across. Um, and it's just sometimes it's not what you do, it's how you do it. I mean, maybe if he had said, well, I'm trying to collect money for this organization. Like he claimed, allegedly, this organization that he was collecting money for. Maybe if he had to say, well, I'm trying to collect money for this organization. If you guys could give, that would be great. But it just made it sound like he was pressuring people, talking about, I need to see y'all moving. I need to see 1,000 people moving and all this kind of stuff. People don't like that kind of stuff. I want to see the baskets. It made it sound like that he was pressuring them. He was talking about, I want to see the money going and all that. It just it made it sound like he was really putting a lot of pressure on these people to give. And that content creator that played a clip earlier in the evening showed that the other ministers, they were trying to get money all night, all day. Earlier in that same conference, another minister was trying to collect $500. And then he told the ministers up on the stage it costs to sit up here. Since when does it? If it, just be honest with your people, just be transparent and be honest and say, we need to get the, pay. We got this expense, if we got that expense, and we need to. This is what we need, or I'm trying to collect for this organization, like he said. Just be honest, be transparent, be honest. If you can give a $20 seed, I would highly appreciate it. So it's maybe not what he did; it was how he went about it, and it made it come across like people felt, people. It, it came across like he was trying to force people into giving, and the Bible says you're not supposed to give. You give. God loves a cheerful giver, meaning he wants you to give with joy out of from your heart, not because um, you feeling like you're under some type of pressure, somebody's pressuring you to give or whatever, um, or whatever other reason. You're supposed to be giving from your heart and with joy and cheer and not begrudgingly. And it was like he was almost like he was trying to pressure people to give to give. I want to see 1,000 people moving, and if you give intangibly, tap your phone on the thing. And I just never heard nothing like that. I just never heard nothing like that. It sounds like he was putting a lot of pressure. He was applying a lot of pressure on those people and everything like that. So yeah, I do stand corrected, and I apologize for saying a lot, and I do stand corrected there, but it made it. I think the reason why a lot of people were saying that was because it looked like he was trying to hold people captive, and until they, and he said it was a security thing, but nobody ain't never heard of that. I've never heard of that before in my whole entire life. Somebody closing the doors. It's time to pay tithes. They just passed a collection plate around, and this was a conference, so it was a big building. I guess yeah, okay, well maybe they are doing things differently, but I just never heard of that. I've just never heard. I'm sorry, I've just ain't never heard of that in my whole entire life. Nobody's saying closed doors, so you can. It just really came across like he was um, pressuring people to give. And I mean, he can say what say what he wants to justify it, but that's what it looked like. It looked. He said, "Oh, it wasn't the way you." It looked like he was pressuring people. It looked just like that. It looked like he was trying to pressure people into close the doors and let's give me this. Go on and give me this $20. I want to see 1,000 people moving and all this kind of stuff. Tap your phone on the basket. No, white people got to do all that. And then they were collecting money all throughout the day. That wasn't the first collection they tried to take up. So that's why people are up in arms about this thing. Like he was almost like he was trying to close up people in the building until they gave the money. I mean, maybe he didn't make it. Well, people could go in and out. Well, maybe that's true, but it looked like you were applying a lot of pressure to these people. Marvin Sapp. That's what it looked like. But I pray safety for his family, and I definitely don't condone violence at all. But he might want to be go about things a different way the next time. Maybe he should have been more transparent, like I said. Maybe it ain't always what you do, it's how you do it. All right, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this explanation that he just gave. I'm kind of baffled by the fact that he didn't give the name of the organization he was trying to collect for. He said it was none of our business. Because that was my big question in the last video. That one video was like, okay, what is he collecting the money for? So, trying to cover costs and all this kind of stuff. Well, you should have been transparent about that. I'm trying to collect money for this organization. We're trying to get costs, collect money for the costs inquired that we got acquired during the convention. Just be honest with people. You're supposed to be a minister. Just be honest with people. Yeah, just be honest with people. Just tell people the truth. And people can appreciate that. Okay, hit me up in the comment section. Hit that like button. Until the next video, you guys be blessed.